the features related to the user or developer experience, we're going to work with an app called What Is That Song, or WITS, which was developed just to address these issues. This is a game in which the user has to guess which song is playing at each stage. Let's start by seeing that the application has a slide menu. Now we have an anonymous user logged in and presents the possibility of logging in with Facebook. There, we're logged in with this user. And it offers the possibility to start playing, search for available songs, and so on. We'll see this later. The first thing we see is a Start button. When the user tapped on it to start the game, we see, it happened rather fast but we could see it, that there was that shockwave, that touch ripple, which, as we've said before, was part of the material design guides. Okay, let's move on. Now a song is playing, and the user has to choose from these 5 presented here what it is. Once you do that, we are now in the second stage of the game. This bar here is updated, with the number of songs guessed so far, and the number of songs not guessed, and the time left. That is, we have a timer that starts in this case in 20 seconds. And then we only have 20 seconds to choose the song of that stage. When the last stage ends, a screen with the final result is opened, which tells us what our final score was. We can share our final results, for example, via Twitter, and if we have Twitter installed, the native Twitter application will be opened, and if we don't have it, it'll be opened for us in the browser. This application was developed with GeneXus 15 version, in which the Carmine theme hadn't been included yet. It was one of the early versions of GeneXus 15. So here, we have the same game developed in later and upgraded versions. Upgrades, of course, have much more functionality. In the second app, the one with the Carmine aesthetic, we see a sequence of artists on some kind of carousel. It'll be a new type of grid that is not the horizontal grid, but one called Recycle View, which, in the next version of GeneXus, will be called Smart Grid. With this, you can implement a history system, such as those of Instagram, Facebook, or Messenger. Basically, we see the same menu. Here the user is already logged into Facebook. There is a user profile panel, which displays a work with detail with the user's general details. And here's a list of songs he or she has already guessed, and chat messages sent out. From the menu, we can also access a playlist with the songs we have guessed in the game, where they're listed. Also, below we see an audio player that allows playing that playlist, both in the thumbnail and full screen mode, which takes up the entire screen. And then we have a search engine, which allows us to search for the songs that the app works with by artist or song name. The content is modified as the user types in the field. Then we have a community chat where users can share text or audio messages with other users of the app. Note that when the user has not yet typed anything, the microphone icon appears to allow him to record audio, and that when the user starts typing, the icon changes as it's now text that will be sent. Note that when the user sends it, a notification will be generated that will reach the rest of the users. Also, note that in this second version of the app, when you start the game, you will see an animation that replaces the typical circle. The animation indicates that the screen is loading. And then the same screen that we saw before appears, although with a different look, which shows the songs. And once the user selects a song, we see he also gets an animated message. In this case, the user was not right. And finally, we get the panel with the results, which we can then share. Later we'll see that when we share the result of the game with this new version of the app, we'll be able to send a special link known as deep linking. We'll talk about that later. This app will allow us to introduce several new features of GeneXus 15 for smart devices. Let's start by breaking down what we've seen.